Hey, Pete. Seeing I got a lot of player haters. Thinking by play hating on me, making comments and whatnot is going to diminish the facts of the case. It's just not going to happen. I got a dude, and this is going to be primarily answering questions that my subscribers are making player hating comments on. So, that's I can't even connect with the other phone. Oh, I might not be able to do a sentence now. Ho. Fucking beauties. Oh, see, I hate that when that happens. So maybe it happened on this one too. But let me grab some stuff because I had a comment about a case. It says I didn't know what I was talking about. It's about somebody crossing lines and whatnot. Shapiro versus Thompson. So let me see if I can get that case up here, because I do have it. I just gotta find it. And it's Shapiro versus Thompson. And it's right here. I got it right here, folks. Okay. Shapiro versus Thompson, 349 U.S. 618. The right to travel by private conveyance for private purposes upon a common way cannot be infringed. Okay, so you really need to read the case to understand you're not interpreting it right. I know I'm right because I had $980 worth of tickets dismissed already. The right to travel freely, unencumbered, and unfettered is guaranteed as a right and not a mere privilege. That is the right to travel, in such a basic right it does not even need to be mentioned for itself, evident by common sense that the right to travel is a basic concomitant of a free society to come and go from length. Running this stuff sometimes, I don't get it. It starts dinging, and then when you go up to it, it doesn't want to connect on this one. Well, yeah, it can connect on my phone on this one. I don't get it. Well, it's just the way it is, I guess. Okay, anyways, folks, back to this. Now, I beat this horse to the ground because I really try to help the peeps understand by way of education. They got a lot of player haters making these comments thinking they know, or thinking they're interpreting the law or the rulings the way they think they're going to interpret it, and it's wrong. Okay? No license or permission is required for travel when such travel is not for the purpose of commercial profit or gain. Commerce. Okay? You got to understand, the license itself is interstate commerce. It's commerce. It's making money with your license. You need a license to do that. Okay? CDL, passengers, coach, making private gain by way of highway in your own private vehicle. That's when it becomes a vehicle, when you're making private gain on a highway. Public highway at that. If you're not doing none of that, and you're not for hire, and you don't act in interstate commerce or commercial capacity, then you're considered a traveler. And traveler means you do not need those things. Okay? Right down to the point where you don't need a license or you don't need a sticker. Okay? Simple as that. I had another comment saying that the right to travel is from one state to another. Well, in part, you're right. But the right to travel means anywheres in the United States. Okay, whether it be in the state you reside in or any state. Okay, whether it be New York, Vermont, Maine, California, Utah, Washington. It don't matter. Texas. It doesn't matter. You have the right to travel on a public road without being charged a license or a fee. It's called a public highway for a reason. So, when you're making comments, know the comments that you're making, because you're misleading the people. You gotta understand, when somebody says, well, you're an idiot, you are breaking the law. You're breaking statutes. I think I've explained that, and if you didn't catch the first time, I'll reiterate it again. Statutes are secondary laws, which are called color of law. Okay? So a statute is a color of law. A revised statute means it's been added. Okay? Now, there's already law set in place that you cannot add any laws that impede your constitutional rights in your amendments in the Supreme Court rulings. You just can't do it. Okay? Now, the court has spoken. The highest court of the land has spoken. I've cited cases. But you player haters want to keep on getting on here and try to diminish who I am as a person from what I'm talking about. For one, I can't dictate what player haters are going to say. You don't like me? Oh well. Oh well. However, let's get back to the main thing here. I've done a lot of legal research. And the fact of the matter is you do have the right to equal protection of the law. Okay? Miller versus United States 230, federal law, 2D 486. Nor may a citizen be denied due process of the law or equal protection of the law. When you go into DMV and they don't got a sign up there saying that you're giving up a right for a privilege to be charged a license and fee, they violated your due process. Period. You have a right to due process and equal protection of the law. They have to notify you that you are actually giving up a right to gain a privilege, to be licensed and told what to do on a public highway. You already have the right, folks. And that's what I've been trying to tell you. You already have the right. You got to understand that DMV is a political entity. It's a corporation set up for monetary gain to regulate licensing for public highway. But you got to understand, let's break down what licensing is. License is commerce, commercial capacity. That's what a license is. Okay? No ifs, buts about it. A license is interstate commerce or commercial capacity, making private gain with highway. That's what a license is. Okay, if you're not doing none of that, you don't need a license by law. Okay. You can also see Zobel. That'd be Zobel versus William. 457 U.S. 55. Held, and the decision was, held the right to travel is a constitutionally protected activity. Period. Okay, folks, I'm not going to pound this into the ground because I want to watch a movie. Sitting here while my wife does dialysis. But the fact of the matter is you player haters need to know what you're talking about. Because you don't. And when you sit there and make these little comments about the right to travel means this or the right to travel means that, well, you're dead wrong. Okay? In part you might be right, in part you're wrong. Bigger part you're wrong. The right to travel means the right to travel on a public highway, unfettered, unencumbered, unmolested. Okay? Without being charged a license or a fee. United States Supreme Court ruled on that. When I tell you these cases like Shapiro versus Thompson, you really got to understand what the case means, okay? And apply it to the Constitution. Now, you have the right to travel, and that was their thing. They had the right to travel, to move from one state to another without being encumbered, without being molested. They didn't need all that other crap that the state requires. Now, when the state requires you to get a license and everything else because they tell you it's against the law, in part, they're not lying because it is against the law to act in interstate commerce without a license. Okay? But you don't need that license, okay? When somebody says you're an idiot, you're breaking statutes, it's secondary law. That's color of law. They're trying to force color of law, which are statutes, okay? And every state has statutes they adopted, they've been revised, these have been added on. Now these statutes that are revised does not over trump or impede your constitutional rights or your amendments or the Supreme Court rulings. Simple as that. I understand some people want to believe that I may not know what I'm talking about, or they've grown up with the education of believing this is what you need. The cops ain't going to lie to you. Well, that's not true. The cops and the public servants are not your friends. Never, ever are your friends. They're there to serve the public, to serve the American citizen. Okay? And they swore an oath to the Constitution of America to protect it foreign and domestic. You have to be a public servant. When you come up to my window and you try to impede those rights that everybody has fought for, you know, that's what the Army goes for. It goes across seas, this, that. It's what people fight for. They fight for their freedom. I mean, we live in a beautiful country. You know, America, United States of America is a beautiful country, although it's a corporation. But being an American citizen as I am, and that's what I consider myself as an American citizen and not a United States corporation citizen, it's a beautiful place because I've got a stepboy who is in Fort Drum, who fights for my freedoms, who goes overseas and fights for my freedoms, as well as the police officers who swore an oath to the Constitution to protect my freedoms. This is part of my freedoms. Part of my freedoms is to go out in public and do my personal agenda without being harassed, molested, without being charged a license or fee. Okay, and the court, and the United States Supreme Court has ruled on that and saying you're right. You do have that right. And why everybody wants to try to belittle that, try to sweep that under the carpet, try to impede on that is just beyond me. You know? Who cares I got a fucking history? Oh, well, I got a history. I ain't that same person anymore. Now I'm trying to give back to society by way of education of what I know and what I've learned to be a fact. You may not like me, oh well, that's something you have to live with, not me. I'm still going to take my next step in journey without you. You're going to come on, make another stupid ass comment. I'm going to reply to it and go on about my day like it never even happened. But the whole point is why diminish your freedom? You know? Maybe I do know a little something. Maybe I have gotten some education over the years. Maybe I'm just mentally fucked up from birth. You know, maybe I have a disability that I just don't talk about. Maybe that's why I stutter sometimes. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. The whole point is don't impede your rights, your kids' rights. You know, it's just like taking a video camera, going out in public, and videoing anything you can see in public. You know, whatever you can see in public, you can video. You can't trespass. You can't create a crime when you're in public and you're looking at something. Okay? You can't do it. It violates your constitutional rights and your amendments and Supreme Court rulings. You can't trespass the eyes. So when you're in public, and whatever you can see, no matter what it is, and it don't matter what it is, whatever you can see is legal. Period. A lot of people want their freedoms, want to be right, want it a certain way because that's the way they grew up believing it should be. But the problem is you've been down educated, just like me. I've been down educated right from a child about what my rights are. It's all about this, peeps. You got to look at the corporation. You really have to separate what the corporation is and what the American citizen is. And the only thing that's stopping the corporation coming over to the American citizen is right in the middle here. Is called a Bill of Rights. It's the Constitution of America and your Bill of Rights. It's right there in the middle, and that's the only thing stopping them from coming over here and killing you, trampling you, beating you, forcing you to do X, Y, Z. That's why we live in such a beautiful country. You know, I mean, I'm proud to be an American citizen. I ain't no citizen of any state, though. I don't consider myself a citizen of any state because I don't want to contract with any state. However, I am an American citizen, and I would defend my country if it was ever invaded. Because I'm that much a believer in my country and the freedoms my country gives me. What's really fucked up is I got to fight for those rights, though. I get pulled over for traveling, for exercising my rights. And I get harassed by public servants, what you guys call cops. I get harassed by these people telling me I need X, Y, Z. Dude, you're supposed to be protecting my Constitution, not trying to impede on them. You know? And it all comes down to this. The more people they pull over, peeps, and the more money they generate, that's their paycheck. They only get so much allocated to them every year by the state. The rest of their crap comes from tickets, traffic violations. But you got to understand, even though they call it a law, that you're breaking the law, you're not breaking the law. Because a traffic violation is not a crime. Even though they try to revise it as a crime through the statutes, it is not. And the only way it is through the statutes if you're acting in interstate commerce or commercial capacity. Period. Okay, peeps, I'm out of here. Peace.